Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this event on pre-screening of videos that have been made by older people. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you here. I'm Etienne Krug, and I'm Director for the Department of Social Determinants at the World Health Organization in Geneva. Welcome to this premiere film screening and reflections on the screening. Before we get going, just two practical things for you all watching. We have live interpretation in Arabic, Chinese, French, Spanish, and Russian. So if you look at the icon, the globe icon on the bottom right of your screen, you should be able to select a channel for the language you want there. If you have any questions, also please put them in the chat function so that my team can respond. And just to be sure everybody's okay, we are recording this event to make it available for people afterwards as well. So please be aware of that, and I hope it is okay with all of you. So again, greetings to everyone. Bienvenue à tous et à toutes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmat Allah ani. Trying to use all the languages of those who have produced the films with us so that they also are totally welcome here. This is an exciting day for WHO as we hand over the mic to groups of older people in Canada, Jordan, and Togo. Many of them are virtually with us today in different parts of the world. And the aim of the event is exactly that, is to hear their voices, to celebrate what they have achieved, acknowledge and thank them, and reflect on what they're conveying through their films, considering how we and others can support more of these participatory processes through the United Nations Decade of Healthy Aging, 2021-2030. While this is not intended to be representative of any place, population group, or system, these films stand as authentic depictions of the lived reality of the people involved, highlighting what they want to say in their own words, how they want to say it, and how they are represented through the application of participatory processes that aim to empower, create, and build respect and dignity. We should see these films not as end products in themselves, but as a means to a wider end, to catalyze a new dialogue between older people and their communities and decision makers to foster healthy aging everywhere. This work was initiated as part of WHO's leadership to ensure the voices of older people are at the heart of the decade, and that older people are meaningfully engaged in its implementation. We've been fortunate to work very closely with two organizations in preparing this event and the films. Firstly, Help Age International and its network. They've identified small groups of older people that they were engaged with and coordinated the practicalities at a local level. And secondly, Insight Share, who trained the older people in participatory video to create their own films on aspects of healthy aging in their context and use their film in dialogue with local stakeholders. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic is shining a stark light on aging and on older people in societies across the world, how we value them, how we treat them, and how we hear what they have to say and act upon it. So the time for meaningful engagement with older people is needed more than ever before, if we are to leave no one behind and fulfill people's human rights. We at WHO certainly want to play our part. We're well placed with 194 member states and within the UN system to influence and champion the value of using participatory methods such as PV to meaningfully engage with people. We'll advocate for that engagement to avoid tokenistic participation of older people and the extraction of their voices without feedback or follow-on. In our role in the decade, we commit to working with all our partners towards positive, transformative change with older people up front and center. So very soon we'll be hearing from those older people in Canada, Jordan, and Togo, as I said. But first, I'd like to give the floor to the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, to welcome you all himself through a video message. Thanks very much. Please run the clip now.
Getting older comes with many benefits and some challenges. The films you're about to see show the many ways in which older people engage in their communities on issues that concern them. They also highlight the gaps in systems and services that prevent older people from living the way they could or want to. Importantly, these films were made by older people themselves from Canada, Jordan, and Togo, and have been used to start conversations with decision makers about the issues that affect older people. I thank the older people who made these films. Many are here today, and those who supported them. Thank you so much. WHO is proud to have been part of this process. It's one way we're helping to keep older people central to and fully engaged in the 2021 to 2030 UN Decade of Healthy Aging. As the world's population ages, WHO is supporting countries to put in place policies and services that enable older people to live in communities that offer opportunities for good health and well-being. As you watch these films, I invite you to ask yourself what sort of world you want to live in as you get older. Let's work for that world now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tedros, for these welcome words and for your leadership in the field of healthy aging. Now the time has come for us to watch the movies that have been prepared. So please sit down, take a deep breath, and enjoy the movies that have been sent to us by people from communities in Manitoulin Island, Canada, Amman, Jordan, and Palime in Togo. Let's listen to the voice of older people, what they have to say to us. We'll play them one after the other, so this is going to take about 50 minutes. Enjoy the movies and let the cameras roll.
Kinshasame, Ketchipizian, Mijutuan, Madwimzanates, Duan, Minitominis. Mandasagan, Chinop Magnikia, not Wesagitek, you demanded Ontario Ejnikadik, Canada. Mimanda, Mamma Jimikibiak, Bish, Parnagmek Monti Kitkabik. Minito Wendag with Manda, Minitominis. Gotoaswe Mampi, Nishabing and the Kiat, Tenun, Mampi Minising, Mino Nibina, Rabetingoshik. Mandagam is not this doing with about the man Manda et Ketchipizian. We know the Madian, Kinege or Chigan. We know the end among Mandan and the Moinina. Me know you, me know Jajakung.
I look at it as a normal process in life, and I see myself aging gracefully at my workplace. I'm known as the language keeper, the knowledge keeper. I want all the children, students in my community to call me Nokmis. Nokmis.
I keep very active for my age, and I do a lot of outside activities. Like, for instance, every year, as long as I can remember, I've been doing Winterwood. When I retired from work, I noticed I was a bit overweight, and I started walking. I walk with my dog. I talk to my dog. It keeps my mind thinking all the time what to do, and my dog's a very happy dog. He doesn't talk to me, but. We get along well. And I garden a lot. I have projects. Every year I have a different project. Last year I built a little addition to my home. And the year before that, I built an outdoor cooking area. This year, I've built new flower beds, and also, I started to build a pizza oven. And for my mind, keep in mind, as we age too, our mind also ages. And for my mind, I do, like puzzles and word find and anything I can find keep my mind active.
We have to start finding a way to earn the respect from children. What I usually do is I show them magic tricks or teach them something new that they don't know. And when you bond with a child, it comes all through his life, and he ends up calling you uncle, like they call me Uncle Lou.
Huh? What? How'd you do that? How did you do that?
Healthy aging, to me, would be to be at peace. And the way I found that is to give up my old habits that I've had. I had suffered immensely with addictions. And then I found a way to get rid of all that. I eventually got into a self-help program.
A part of healthy aging is the ability to be able to get your voice out there and to get your point across, not only to yourself, to others in your family, but to your leadership. I enjoy meeting with all the seniors and elders in our community. It's a privilege to be with them.
People have indicated to me that they would like to know more about the Elders Council, and they also wanted to maybe present some issues. So it would be good for the Elders Council to have maybe openings for presentations by certain elders wanted to make a presentation. It could be structured in such a way as to maybe do a little video, or they could also just have maybe a Zoom meeting to present their issue.
I had a setback, some medical procedures. Upon returning to my home, I had some issues regarding the setup of my home. It wasn't fully accessible for me. There's too much stairs in my home.
There should be some kind of investigation into the previous accidents to determine what the corrections should be to further prevent future faults.
I feel that we need more services for us in the home, because we want to stay in our home as long as we can and not be put in nursing home when we're still mobile.
We got to have safe areas where older people can live. In the future, there's not going to be enough room in the nursing home, so they got to have a suitable place for them to live, like design apartment blocks where 6 people could stay with a caregiver, which would have a walkway all around where they could walk undercover.
Over this past 2 years, one of the things we have learned is how resilient we can be. COVID has really taught us a lot of valuable lessons. One of the things I've learned is to be reliant on others within your own circle. We must look out for each other, but we also got to be cautious and prepare ourselves when we're working with them.
It was hard losing your partner, and then this epidemic virus came along 2 months right after. So really my family couldn't visit, or I couldn't go and visit them. But I was happy that the support workers jumped in and helped me out too. But once it started to clear, they started avoiding the days And later on, I noticed that they don't call anymore. So it's kind of hard, especially living alone, nobody to talk to. But if they call and at least call, you don't have to come. At least I'd be happy to.
Presently, at our community of Wikwemekong, we do have a team of support workers, personal support workers. So far, the service is very, I find it very good. However, these services are limited sometimes, that the government provides limited funds, so there's only funds for maybe during the day only. As older people, we are often called upon to help our relatives, our friends, driving somebody to an appointment up in Sudbury. I've had meals delivered to my house, and also, like, in return too, I help my family out, feed them as much as I can in nutritious meals. And sometimes we do have to phone and make phone calls for them as well, because sometimes they can see the phone and sometimes they don't know who to talk to.
It's important for those that are providing for the planning of activities in the community to ensure that the elders are included in their consultation, that they can hear. Oftentimes when planning is being done, I would be the one that would contact the elderly, and I would have the questions for them that would assist them, and that they themselves are identifying what they are in most need of.
At this age, I never thought I knew technology. I'm surprised where I'm at with this filming, where to put the cameras and how to set it up, and even the tripod. It was a new learning experience, and I am happy that at this age that I was welcome to come and take part of it, and I really enjoyed it.
Elders are caretakers of our, of our language, our culture, and the environment. It would be a great loss if we lost our traditions.
It's kind of hard for elders to do their teachings, like firekeeper, for instance, because that's what I teach. Because right now we don't have very much firekeepers at all. In this No Joint they give us a plan to go out in 7 communities on the island, so that we could teach the younger generations, so that they continue with the knowledge that they'll receive.
My passion is beading, and I'd like to pass it on to the next generation. Seeing my grandchildren wear my beading projects gives me pride and joy in my beadwork.
I've learned a long time ago that the language, how important it is to people like my parents who are speakers. It was never passed down because of the intergenerational abuse and what they learned from the residential schools. And because it was forbidden there, they didn't try to teach us. And my brothers, my sisters, we don't speak it. One of the things that I have learned over the years is that the language, it protects us. It's what the Creator gave us so that we could talk amongst each other, and not only just talk, but it's a way of life. It defines us.
Spirituality is very important in our lives. I found it through the sweat lodge. That's our ways, the native ways of doing it. From there I learned to be accepting to the Christian way of life. So what I do is I help out with the services in the church, and that's the same way, it's a church, and it's also you practicing my traditional ways.
When I think of healthy aging, I have a lot of concern. I worry about not only healthy aging for myself, but healthy aging for this world, for Mother Nature.
not long ago, they had said if our temperature goes up 1 degree, that we would be in big, big trouble. And the temperature went up 2 degrees. So we're starting to get the effects from that. The ocean expands because the temperature expands the ocean. And that's why our Great Lakes stop flowing. We have to stop taking so much from the environment.
Part of my job as a consultant is to know and understand climate change, invasive species. We have aerial spraying on our berries and our bushes and our trees and our forests, which is spreading a poison. And it's something we have to really start looking at and start to understand. Everything is here for a reason.
And one of the messages that I've received lately is forgiveness. Forgiveness is hard to do sometimes. When somebody does something bad to you, you start to respond in a rough way. And the best thing to do is forgive. And that way, when your day's over, you're clear because you got nothing negativity around you.
Every morning when I get up, when I meditate a little bit, I ask for forgiveness, whatever I have done in the past, whoever I hurt, whoever I say the wrong words or something like that. In this way, I walk my walk peacefully.
In our communities across Canada, children, now they're elders, they have taken the responsibility and the courageous step to come forward and speak to the conditions that they experience, especially in residential schools. I would like to thank those individuals that have stood up to speak to what had happened to them. That takes a lot of courage.
The 7 grandfather teachings are very valuable in all aspects of our life. And, we can't go on living in the past. I know they carry a lot of pain and anger. And then once they find out about the 7 grandfather teachings, they would learn, how to forgive. If it's not forgiven, then you're carrying something that you really don't want to be burdened down with.
As far as the truth and reconciliation is concerned, there needs to be more done on that between all our communities, especially with the people that instigated or started the whole process. That it's very harmful. It was very harmful. It was very hurtful, and especially to families. The family unities have been are now divided. Some of them. This is where maybe the Elders Council could maybe help out with the community to bridge the forgiveness that has to occur between all of us. That the peace will continue and the forgiveness will be there in each of our hearts.
أنا إنسانة كنت في شبابي بحب الحياة، بحب أشارك في احتفالات وبشارك في اجتماعات وشغلات كثيرة في الحياة. بس لما وصلت في هذا العمر صرت أواجه صعوبة كوني بسكن في مدينة فيها صعوبة في التنقلات، منطقة جبلية، الطرق فيها مش سهلة، فأنا بحاجة لحد يساعدني في التنقلات من مكان لآخر.
المدينة تختلف عن الريف وعن الأرياف. في المدينة طبعا هناك المصانع العديدة والزحام الشديد ووسائل النقل المتعددة التي تنفث دخانها المتعدد والمسيء لصحة الإنسان. وكبار السن في هذه الحالة هم أكثر الناس تأثرا بهذه الحالة، حيث أن هناك أمراض عند الكبار من الضغط والسكري، بل أخطرها أمراض التنفس وأمراض الرئتين.
بعد الأماكن المستوصفات الصحية والمشافي والأمور اللي بتتعلق بهالخصوص كتير بنلاقي صعوبة فيها، ونلاقي صعوبة كمان بالمشي على الرصيف، لأنه دائما الرصيف مشغول إما بشجر أو إما بسيارات طالعة فوق الرصيف. يعني في مشاكل كتير، ويا ريت إنه نتطور بحيث إنه نلاقي مجال للوصول إلى المراكز الصحية بشكل أيسر من هيك.
ما يفترض أن يقدم لكبار السن، يجب أن يكون مبني على دراسات شاملة يتم من خلالها إجراء إحصاء لكبار السن في الدولة، الصعوبات التي تواجههم، إن كان لهم معيلين أم لا. لذا يفترض أن تقدم لهم المساعدات الصحية بالإضافة إلى المساعدات المالية التي تكفيهم سؤال الآخرين. أيضا نرجو أن يكون لهم اهتمام بالجانب النفسي وتوفير الرحلات والنوادي التي يمكنهم من خلالها قضاء أوقات جيدة.
وكذلك يجب أن يكون هناك رواتب تقاعدية تسد حاجاته، وأيضا يجب أن يكون هناك تأمين صحي، لا أن يلجأ إلى الواسطات وإلى طرق أخرى من أجل العلاج.
أروح الدكتور يعطيني الدكتور.
اسمع أبو يزن، أنا صرت يعني متحملك أكثر من اللازم. المحكمة بيني وبينك، الله يرضى عليك، آخر مكالمة بتقبلها منك رجاءً.
لو سمحت
توكل على الله.
لو سمحت
توكل على الله يا اختي. الله يرضى عليك، خلنا نكمل مكالمتي. الله يرضى عليك، في عندي مشكله انا.
الله يرضى عليك
يا اختي، الله يستر عليك. وبعدين معك فجرت دماغي.
زلمه انا ستك
حلي عني يا حل.
الله يسامحك.
هذا الحكي اللي أنا قلت لك إياه والسلام عليك، أنا خلاف هيك ما في عندي كلام. فهمت علي شو بقول لك؟ خلص انتهى.
السلام عليكم يا دكتور.
اهلا بالحج.
دكتور جسمي كله بوجعني.
سلامتك.
جسمي تعبانه.
منين بتشكي؟
كل جسمي كله.
طيب بالسلام يا حج بالسلام. هاي كتبت لك ريفالين، الاسبازولين، وهاي ملتي فيتامين، وهاي كمان.
يا دكتور مش كل الادويه في الصيدليه، ما بيغلبوني.
ان شاء الله خير. هسه بتشوفي. طيب بتشوفي بالصيدليه هسه موجوده ولا لا، وبشري.
طب انا ما معي اشتري.
ماشي تفضل. الله ييسر امرك. مع السلامه. مع السلامه.
يعطيك العافيه.
الله يعافيك. اهلين.
لو سمحتي بالله شوفي لي هالدواء. حتى الدكتور لا كشف علي ولا فحصني.
حج الدكتور كاتب لك 4 أدوية، موجود 2 والمرة الجاية بتاخذي الثاني إن شاء الله.
طب كل شهر هيك بتعملوا معي، ما بتعطوني الأدوية كاملة؟
حاولي تيجي أول الشهر إن شاء الله يكون موجود ال2 الثانيات بنعطيك إياهم.
ما أنتوا كل شهر أنا من وين بدي أجيب؟ أنا ما عندي تأمين شامل أروح وين على أي مكان أصرف.
تعالي مرة ثانية إن شاء الله بكون متوفر الدواء الثاني
إن شاء الله.
هي هذا مرة صباحا ومرة مساء، وهذا مرة حبة باليوم.
تفضل.
بالنسبة للأدوية والصيدليات في ملاحظة ملموسة ظاهرة، إنه بتروح على المستشفى سواء كان مستشفى حكومي أو مركز صحي، في شح في الأدوية غير كافية للمراجعين، وخصوصا في مرات بكونش معهم تأمين صحي بعض المراجعين، فبحتاج إنه يشتري دواء من خارج الصيدلية، فهيك بصير عنده عبء مادي لا يستطيع شراء هذا الدواء، فبيبقى طوال الشهر بدون علاج مناسب اللي يساعده على العلاج.
كبار السن بحاجة إلى كثير من الرعاية الصحية، فهم آبائنا وأجدادنا، ونحن يجب أن نقابلهم دوما بتوفر كافة الأمور التي تساعد في راحتهم. فمثلا كبير السن يحتاج إلى الكرسي الصحي المتحرك وإلى تخت يحتاج أيضا.
الواقع كبار السن بحاجة إلى مأوى مناسب. كثير من كبار السن تجد ملقى في الشارع، ليس له بيت، ليس له مأوى. وهذا كان شعار، على فكرة هذا كان شعار للأردن في حكومة دولة السيد مظهر بدران، مأوى لمن لا مأوى له. ومن بين هذه المأوى هذا تم تحقيق جزء منها اللي هو إسكان أبو نصير اللي احنا فيه حاليا، قدم لطبقة الموظفين اللي عاملين في الدولة، فيما بعد تم فتحه لمن هم يستطيعون دفع الأقساط.
احنا من الشريحة اللي بنقدر نحكي عنها المظلومة في البلد عندنا كبار السن لعدة أسباب. البني آدم فينا لما بيكبر، أو نقول أهالينا أو ست رجل كان يعمل في مصلحة خاصة خلينا نقول وقطاع عام، الراتب المتوفر له بعد التقاعد لا يكفي أبدا بتاتا لأنه يؤدي له أي أمور من أموره الصحية، كراتب شهري، كطعام، كمأكل، كمسكن. تقاعده بسيط جدا. بنفس الوقت التأمين الصحي سيء جدا عندنا.
يا سيدي عادة يعني الشباب أو كل الشرائح الاجتماعية بشكل عام تتأثر بالعادات والتقاليد في المجتمع، لأنه إحنا مجتمع إسلامي، مجتمع شرقي، وضع طبيعي يعني أنه كل واحد بيحترم الثاني، خاصة إحنا كمسلمين. ولذلك يعني الشاب دائما وأبدا بيحترموا كبار السن، بقدروا كبار السن،
بحطوهم على جنب، يعني انهم كبار خلص ما لهم رأي ولا لهم كلمة، ولا يعني لحالهم هم الكل، يعني الشباب هم الرأي الصحيح لهم، أما كبار السن خلص راحت عليهم.
بشكل عام نظرة المجتمع أنه لكبار السن أولا احترام، في يعني نحن ما بنقدر نقول كقاعدة عامة، بس نحن كمجتمع اللي حوالينا بينظر لكبار السن كنظرة احترام، مساعدة. أي كبير سن بحاجة انه اي مساعدة، اي مشورة، اي شيء، بلاحظ انه المجتمع اللي حوالينا ما بيتأخر عن هي المساعدة.
نحن بسوريا كان بلدنا احلى بلد بالعالم،
من أمن وأمان وعيشة ومعيشة، كل شيء كان في مو ناقصنا غير رحمة الله، عايشين ببيوتنا وعايشين بخيرها. إلا أنه إجت أزمة الحرب، اللي إجت أزمة الحرب يعني خلتنا نرجع لوراء، الله بيعلم قديش. زاد الحرب ببلدنا، زادت الإساءة، زاد الضرب والقصف وكل شيء، راح بيتنا وانفقد ابني، وصرنا نهرب من بلد لبلد، من قلب سوريا، من مطرح للتاني، وين ما رحنا صار قصف، وين ما رحنا قصف، حتى صار فينا ما عاد في مجال إلا أنه نطلع من البلد. أنا خفت على بناتي صبايا، وخفت على أولادي وعلى زوجي، وهربت على الطريق. كان الطريق صعب كتير، طلعنا بنص الليل والدنيا لساها ما طلعت ضوء لحتى وصلنا المخيمات اللي بالأردن. وصلنا كان الجو صعب كتير بالمخيمات، والحالة سيئة، ما كان نقدر نعيش بالمخيمات لأنه اشتد مرض جوزي وابني، وما عاد فينا إلا أنه أطلع من البلد لبلد لعمان. حاولنا نطلع على عمان والحمد لله طلعنا ووصلنا بعمان وأخذنا بيت وقعدنا وكان الوضع المادي يعني كان معي شوية مصاري خلصوا. لحتى كان في جمعيات تساعدنا، وقفت، ما عاد في لا جمعيات تساعدنا ولا في شيء، صرنا أي شغلة بدنا نروح نشتريها. كمان صرنا نعاني أكتر يعني من أجرة البيوت. زوجي زلمة كبير بالسن، وأنا ما فيني يعني لا أشتغل ولا شيء، ما في عندي معيل غير ابني، وابني يعني ما عاد لحق، وصار فينا انكسر علينا أجرة بيوت كثير. وهلا ما بنطلب من الله غير انه يعني تساعدونا بالحاله يعني الماديه، وانه نقدر نكمل حياتنا هون، بما انه احنا كبرنا ما عاد فينا يعني شو نعمل ما بنعرف.
لاحظنا في ال30 سنة الماضية تطور كبير على دور الرجل في دعم المرأة من حيث العمل. طبعا هذا له ارتباطات خاصة بالثقافة من جهة الطرفين، بالإضافة لأمور لها علاقة بمتطلبات الحياة. الآن في عنا لقاء مع الست مريم رح تذكر لنا فيها تجربتها.
طبعا أنا الحمد لله درست تمريض، وقبل ما أتزوج وتخرجت فحصلت على وظيفة مع وزارة الصحة، وطبعا أهلي ما وافقوني ألتحق بالعمل كوني يعني بنت مش متزوجة. فبعد ما تزوجت عودت طلبت إني ألتحق بالوظيفة، قدمت لوزارة الصحة، وافقوا على وظيفتي واشتغلت 20 عام في ملاك وزارة الصحة. والحمد لله أنا استفدت كثير من هذا العمل، إني حسنت وضعي المادي وحصلت على تقاعد براتب دائم وتأمين صحي لأولادي وزوجي وإلي وحتى لوالدي ووالدتي. هلا بعد التحاقي بالعمل يعني صار عندي نشاط، وطبعا الأولاد كملوا تعليمهم وأنا قعدت في البيت. فكرت في إشي تاني، ألتحق بالعمل الاجتماعي في منطقتي، وطبعا التحقت في جمعية خيرية ولحد الآن أنا بشتغل فيها وعلى مساعدة الناس والأعمال الخيرية اللي بنقوم فيها في المنطقة، وأعطتني حيوية ونشاط، وكمان أتعرف على ناس من عدة مناطق وعلاقات ومؤسسات دولية وارتباطات، مثلا تكيتم علي. أنا ضابط ارتباط بين تكيتم علي وجمعية المنارة للتنمية الاجتماعية.
أنا من خلال علاقاتي الاجتماعية وحياتي العملية لاحظت أنه الرجل مش دائما بيكون عائق للمرأة في عملها، سواء أخ أو زوج أو قريب. يعني في تفاوتات، في بعض الرجال إلهم عقلية مختلفة، وبعضهم داعمين للمرأة في كل مجالات الحياة العملية، العمل، العلمية. يعني بيساعدوا في كثير ناس بناتهم على التعليم، نسائهم على العمل، حتى يكونوا أسرة سعيدة.
كبار السن مصطلح يطلق على من وصل أو تجاوز عمر 60، وأيضا الحكومة تنظر إلى هذا المصطلح من هذا الباب، فمن يبلغ 60 يتم إحالته إلى التقاعد. ومن خلال حياتي العملية واندماجي في المجتمع أرى أن العديد من المتقاعدين يقولون بأن ربما الحكومة أن تنظر إلى طبيعة الموظف وإلى صحته وليس إلى عمره، قد يكون ما زال في أوج عطائه.
نظرة الآخرين بالنسبة لكبار السن هي تختلف من مكان لآخر وبحسب الثقافة السائدة وبحسب البيئة، حيث أن البعض ينظر إلى كبار السن بأنهم لا يستطيعون العمل، لا يستطيعون القيام بأي مهمة، رغم أنهم يملكون من الكفاءات والخبرات الكافية والتي يستفيد منها المجتمع. وليست هناك دراسة مسحية كافية أيضا لكبار السن تنظر إلى حاجاتهم وإلى رغباتهم وإلى ميولهم، وحتى نغير النظرة السائدة عند البعض. وكذلك هذا الجيل بفضل الثورة العلمية الهائلة والتقدم العلمي والمعرفة الكبيرة أصبحوا ينظرون إلى كبار السن بأنهم لا يستطيعون عمل وأصبحوا عاجزين، وهذا طبعا نظرة سلبية بالنسبة لكبار السن.
حقيقة بالإضافة إلى الخدمات التي تقدمها الدولة لكبار السن مشكورة، نلمس من أصحاب القرار مزيدا من توفير مزيدا من الخدمات لكبار السن. مثلا هم بحاجة إلى وسائل ترفيهية لأندية، بحاجة إلى أن نفعل الإعلام من أجل نشر الوعي باحترام هذه الفئة والاستفادة من خبراتها التي يعني عبر السنين كونوا خبرات طويلة، يجب أن نستثمر هذه الخبرات ونستفيد منها.
لاحظت الكثير منهم لديهم طاقة كبيرة لاستكمال العمل، لا يعني ذلك أنه مجرد بلوغ سن 60 التوقف عن العمل. أيضا بفترض أنه يكون على مستوى الدولة في خلينا نحكي لجان متخصصة تضم عدد من كبار السن بما لديهم من خبرات، ممكن يكون مثلا في مجال التعليم، في مجال الصحة، في القضايا الشائكة اللي بتحصل. لا يكفي أن نترك هذا المجال لمن يعيشون في فترة في زمن معين، لأن الخبرة اللي بكون اكتسبها كبير السن أيضا غنية ومعطاءة ويمكن أن يقدم من خلالها الكثير.
Ah bon?
Fais un effort.
Ah?
Un effort. Un effort. Oui. Oui.
Dans le cadre de la décennie du vieillissement en bonne santé, les personnes âgées de Palimé au Togo se sont réunies pour réaliser leur propre film à ce sujet.
Les gens souffrent. À Palimé, on considère que Palimé est une belle ville et autres, mais quand vous rentrez comme ici dans la masse, les gens souffrent sérieusement, surtout les personnes âgées.
Les miagbɔ le Togo fia état nyamagblɔ be état me ɖo moyen ke ate kpe ɖe mía ŋuti o ena be ne be wodzi via akpɔ dzi asacrifier ɖokuiwo akpɔ ɖevia dzi ne ɖevia tsã le dɔ ɖe wɔm ne ŋusẽ va le ɖiɖia ɖevia anɔ na nu anɔ ɖu mingba besoin awu nenetɔ ya mingba besoin luxe o ɖevia anɔ na nu ne ɖevia gbe le na nu gbe le ɖu kpoa wotsi aɖu keke vi ɖe tsaƒe ava adzo yi mawu gbɔ donc ame kewo la te kpe ɖe mía ŋuti koe nye état supposons si míame ka nenea mídzo état me ɖo moyen te tu míabe droit na mí enua nye na ɖe te ɖe mía dzi vɔ nɔa pas le mí ɖo pression ɖe kpe ate wɔ ɖe gouvernement dzi.
Dans l'ancien temps, généralement, nous avons des familles soudées. Une personne âgée est aidée par les tantes, les sœurs, les quoi, jusqu'à son dernier jour. Aujourd'hui, c'est chacun pour soi. C'est devenu famille nucléaire. Les gens n'arrivent plus à aider les autres. Vous avez des jeunes qui n'ont pas de travail, qui donnent des petits-fils, qui doivent manger, qui doivent s'habiller, qui doivent être éduqués et tout ça. Entre les jeunes et les vieux, il y a un fossé. Tout ce que nous nous disons actuellement, ils pensent que c'est des choses ancestrales, c'est-à-dire ils ne considèrent pas que c'est des réalités. Or, c'est les faits que nous avons traversés, on leur donne des conseils pour qu'ils changent de comportement. Beaucoup ne lisent pas. Beaucoup maintenant mettent des choses dans les oreilles, se promènent à longueur de journée, de petites activités, ils ne veulent pas faire. Il faut mener une petite enquête pour voir si réellement il y a des personnes âgées. Bon, connaître le nombre, voir la situation de chaque personne et voir comment intervenir. Mais l'intervention qui pouvait vraiment réussir, c'est aider ces personnes à monter de petites activités rémunératrices de revenus. Bon, distribuer les vivres, c'est une bonne chose, mais ça, c'est pour un petit temps. Cette personne âgée, si on peut le financer un petit fonds, tout juste pour mener de petites activités et pouvoir supporter la famille, ce serait mieux. L'État en fait déjà, mais ça doit être complété par les associations et ONG.
Le ko akpil men tane watendo te pere go bile ko kwa na mechicho ya no yifuma wa kpo mi agbo wa kpo asun do vie ko mi ha mi atenwo wa ko primanchi to achiko lo alo nduru wo mi mi ha ya ko kpo la messe
si o te wona mi nya ro agbojitia ke paji centre de adunami be koji nya ro ti ko sa kama nya no la messe me akperu ti na mi kule ndu vivio kwa nya ro ji ne kaka va se si me mo to ko nya mo gogo.
Comme l'État lui-même l'a dit, entre-temps qu'ils vont construire des centres, ou bien les personnes âgées peuvent de temps en temps aller se récréer. Si l'État pouvait faire ça, ça nous ferait beaucoup plaisir. D'autre part, je pense qu'une personne âgée doit de temps en temps faire de sport pour qu'il ne soit pas alité.
Donc ce qu'il faut dire aux jeunes maintenant, c'est que vraiment, il faut qu'ils suivent des conseils, qu'ils rentrent dans des groupes de formation et autres là, pour qu'ils apprennent beaucoup de choses. Ils devaient lire pour apprendre dedans, mais beaucoup ne lisent pas. Donc les jeunes, ils doivent chercher du travail.
À l'intention des jeunes, soyez créatifs de vos propres emplois pour ne pas émigrer et abandonner seuls les parents.
J'aimerais par cette occasion demander à nos gouvernants de pouvoir penser à ce problème en préparant la jeunesse dès maintenant, par des formations, par des financements des entreprises et octroyer des emplois, si nécessaire, aux diplômés.
Je ne sais pas si ailleurs en Afrique, c'est mieux, mais dans mon pays, je n'ai trouvé nulle part, dans aucun centre de santé, un service de gériatrie, gérontologie. Et la prise en charge de la santé des personnes âgées relève du domaine de l'État. Et je prierai les États de faire en sorte que des personnes qualifiées soient formées dans le domaine de la santé pour accompagner les personnes âgées en ces moments précieux de leur vie. On peut également penser au fait que en Afrique, par exemple, le meilleur endroit pour que les personnes terminent leur vie, ce n'est pas dans les centres ou bien les maisons de vieillesse. Ailleurs, ça marche, mais chez nous en Afrique, les gens aiment bien rester dans leur maison. Et il est connu aussi que le meilleur cadre pour la bonne santé, pour le bien-être d'une personne âgée, c'est sa maison. Or, il se trouve qu'aujourd'hui, les modes de vie ont changé. Les enfants ne restent plus avec leurs parents jusqu'à leur âge adulte. Ils s'en vont pour travailler ailleurs. Et les personnes âgées ont besoin justement de d'autres personnes plus jeunes pour les assister tous les jours. L'État peut former un nouveau type de métier, un nouveau type de travailleurs, c'est-à-dire des assistants de vieillesse. Et ça fera qu'on peut créer ainsi de nouveaux emplois. Et ces personnes-là, pour les personnes qui en ont, les personnes âgées qui en ont les moyens, il y en a qui ont les moyens. Ils peuvent payer les services de ces personnes, de ces assistants-là, pour venir les assister, les accompagner tous les jours dans leur maison.
Donc, ce que je voudrais demander aux personnes âgées, c'est vraiment se contrôler. L'alimentation, qu'est-ce que je dois manger? La boisson, qu'est-ce qui ne me va pas? Qu'est-ce qui me va? Et généralement, nos boissons actuelles sont des boissons frélatées qui donnent assez de maladies. Donc, il faut se conformer, c'est-à-dire se nourrir d'une façon naturelle pour avoir une bonne santé.
Nous demandons au gouvernement de subventionner les paysans pour qu'ils n'utilisent plus dans leurs champs des pesticides et qu'ils adoptent la culture bio ou biologique afin que les personnes âgées mangent sain et qu'ils restent en bonne santé.
adidi agbe agɔɖuɖu ƒe agbe adidi atrɔ kpɔ megbedome akpɔ ɖa be ɖe ne eva xɔ retraite ɖe alo ne eva tsi ŋusẽ va le vɔ ɖe nu ka ye la ɖu eye numa na be wòla ɖo mía detɔwo be aɖo ŋugbegoe bon woagba kpɔ be nu ke ŋgba kpɔ be eta agba wɔ ne mía nyi be mía me ko Mawu do mía dzi ye mí xɔ retraite vɔ lãme le mía sia mí tsɔ míabe experiencewo mí sɔ dzo si bien be egbea jeunewo wole dɔa me vɔa wole ɖo aya egɔme nyi be experience ke mí ɖoa jeune kewo va via wo ŋgba ɖo wo yi skulu woxɔ diplôme gbãgbãgbã vɔa ŋgba ɖo experience o eta ne wɔe tellement be ame kewo lãme le woasia atrɔ récupérer ame mɔwo me kewo lãme le woasi kpo atrɔ récupérer wo ne wa adzɔ jeunewo ɖo mɔa dzi.
Notre vie nous appartient. Nous sommes responsables, totalement responsables de notre vie. Et nous pouvons faire de nos derniers moments des moments très, très agréables. Le tout n'est pas de vivre longtemps, mais il faut surtout rester actif. Il faut intégrer les activités où on peut trouver des jeunes qui peuvent nous communiquer leur énergie, leur joie de vivre.
Ma vie n'est pas encore finie, hein? Nya, me nyabe me tiko evonamo, me gapoto la meseme, bena matin wo nuke ametiti lawo. Enyare, o de sombe me sivo nyebe pia, e sivo nyento ni mesio, me le wo doka ka vana gbea, nyebe la me epu fwen, ni me jina be makoro kinyo ba be nyangane no, me le wuno me inasi, me wona do star do kele ako me nama, nyento la nanu buna.
La vieillesse, à moi, non.
La vieillesse, ce n'est pas la fin de la vie. C'est maintenant que je vais commencer la vie. Ok.
Ametiti menye, Tonya ametitio, nya no zo, nya no sport, ne nya te no la meseme, ne nya no agbediti, akpena mile mi abe nu gomo seseta.
Wow. I just returned from Africa, actually. It was so nice to be thrown back into Africa with the last movie, but even more so, I felt thrown back 30 years or so ago when I was a medical student. Whenever I had to pass a night in the hospital and I had some free time, my favorite activity was to go and visit older people. One, because I didn't have many visits, but more importantly, because I wanted to learn from their wisdom, listen to their stories and their life experiences. And it was so great to have an opportunity to get these life experiences from 3 totally different countries and places, but with clearly some overlap. Older people have been passing on lots of messages through these 3 movies about what's important to them: maintaining physical and mental health, intergenerational connectedness, age-friendly housing and transport, caring for nature, accessing services, accessing information, and being heard and participating in decision-making and much more besides. So thanks very much to all involved in making these 3 movies at the local level, as well as at the national and the international level. Now, like for all big screenings, we have the making of. So we have an opportunity now to listen to some of those who made those movies about their experiences and their view of this participatory process. So please, let's listen to a few reflections from the 3 countries involved.
Video making to me was it was fun. I've done some videos on another camera, you know, which just never turns out really good. But in this project that we did, I found that, you know, there's a lot of things that were helpful to me.
My name is Lorraine Bosky. I'm from Chiging First Nation on Manitoulin Island, and I'd like to tell you about my experience on this video project. It was fun. I really enjoyed the sessions we had and being with co-elders in our both communities on Manitoulin Island.
I found that it was fun, to me at least, at my age, seeing ourselves the way we are on screen and or on the monitor.
I really enjoyed spending time and learning the new techniques about how to do a video.
And one of the most amazing things was the way that the circle together of the learning process, where we learn to use the technical aspects of filmmaking, but more so it allowed us to create a little community really quick. I was so amazed and proud and inspired by the elders who were able to so quickly share so deeply and create such a sacred space together.
What I've learned here is to jump into action and take those pictures of the event and know how to do it instantly. Of course, the instructors that present were very well presented. You know, I have learned quite a bit from this project.
The experience of a whole with the participatory video project on Manitoulin Island was certainly unforgettable. I made some great new friends and learned so much about older people in Canada and Indigenous older people in Canada. Every person is unique. It's not all one story. We so quickly, you know, paint everybody or even older people with one brush, but everyone has a unique story to tell.
And I'd like to say Chimigwech for this program. The experience of the whole process was, I feel confident about doing another video, and I feel proud of my accomplishments. And I'd like to say Chimigwech to the whole team, and I hope to see you soon. Now, Bama.
نحن في معهد العناية بصحة الأسرة نقدر ما يقدمه كبار السن من مساهمات في مجتمعاتهم، ونؤمن بحقوقهم الأساسية الكاملة، ونحاول المساهمة في تعزيز وتحسين مستويات معيشتهم من خلال برامج فاعلة بالتعاون مع المنظمات الدولية والمجتمع المحلي.
معهد العناية بصحة الأسرة يقدم نموذج متكامل لرعاية الأسرة، وإننا نشعر بالفخر بإدماج كبار السن ليكونوا جزءا من هذه الأنشطة، وذلك من أجل صحتهم النفسية ومشاركتهم، وخصوصا بعد سن التقاعد. إن التجربة التي قام بها المعهد هي تجربة رائدة، وأنا شعرت بالفخر والسعادة بشكل شخصي بعد المشاركة فيها، وأطمح أن يكون هنالك عمل مستدام أكثر مع كبار السن ومشاريع مستقبلية تمكنهم وتحسن من صحتهم النفسية ومشاركتهم المجتمعية.
كانت الفائدة بالنسبة لي القيام بتصوير لقاءات باستخدام أجهزة مختلفة وما يتبعها من ضبط في المسافات والإضاءة والتصوير والصوت والإخراج وغيرها. أما بالنسبة للفائدة التي حصلت عليها فكانت ثقتي بنفسي بالوقوف أمام الكاميرا وتجهيز الكاميرا لإجراء بعض اللقاءات مع شرائح المجتمع.
لا شك أن تجمعنا في هذا التدريب الذي مراده
صناعة فيلم عن كبار السن. لا شك أنه تجمع مفيد بحيث أننا نستفدنا من بعضنا في تبادل الخبرات وتبادل الأفكار وطرح الرأي والرأي الآخر وتبادل المعرفة أيضا، إضافة إلى أننا استفدنا فنيا في هذا التدريب بأن تعلمنا كيف التصوير وكيف الإخراج وكيف أيضا الصوت ونظامه وهندسته، حتى المونتاج أيضا تعلمناه، وبذلك نستطيع صناعة فيلم في أي وقت نشاء.
I am Samuel Kwakumawena Jahini, local coordinator of the participatory video project of older people from the organization Univers de Solidarité et de Développement Unisolde in Togo. We are going to share the video widely with a wide campaign against ageism. We will also mobilize resources for the Healthy Aging Program and for the well-being of older people.
I am the Yawapa Daro. Mazingi yasasa hirda. De labu video na kweo. Ngu handu numuzi da yasasa le. De lezida del mo zada kunyondutuna. Ejardengani.
Je m'appelle Komla Kuma Patagno. Le projet de vidéo participative a été une belle expérience de manipulation des outils multimédia par nous-mêmes.
Thanks again very much to those who've made those movies for sharing their own experiences of the usefulness of doing it, the challenges and the opportunities it brought them. So let's now turn to a few invited guests. We wanted to hear from as many of you as possible, but we have more than 200 people participating today, and I know from experience that hundreds more will be watching. So we can't hear from everybody, but we've invited a few guests, thought leaders, activists from different backgrounds and regions to start the conversations. Two of them have taped their message and two of them will be live with us right after. So I'd like to start with Dr. Vapu Taipale, who is a former government minister from Finland, now academic researcher and activist. And then from Lisa Brown John. Lisa is from India and is the Secretary General of Civicus, Global Alliance dedicated to strengthening citizen action and civil society around the world. So please, let's watch the two videos and then we'll hear from live reflections as well.
Good afternoon. I'm Vapu Taipale, 81 years old from Finland, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, because the films were very, very exciting and also very different, but still there were topics which were common to all people in the world, and I really felt to be one member of the chorus. First, voice. This is the best way of coping ageism. This is also the core of the strategy of Help Age International, my organization, and how beautifully this need for voice was expressed in the films. Decision makers think they know better what we need, but our voice has to be heard. Secondly, the need for adequate data was stressed in all of the films. There's not enough age disaggregated data on aging and aged people. This kind of knowledge is needed locally as well as nationally and globally. And my third point, activism. Let me quote the films. We want to set up small businesses. We understand the ecological needs of Mother Earth. We transfer our cultural tradition further. We want to earn our respect. And this kind of activism means physical activities, mental activities, participation, spaces to meet each other, just the essence of the decade of healthy aging. You do not need to teach this to us, but just to give opportunities. And fourthly, quite touching, this intergenerational ties. We love our children and grandchildren and obtain love and care from the younger generations as well. But the world is changing around us. Close-knit families disappear. Information society grows around us. The digital divide is here. Do not let us down. We will need the help of younger generations, municipalities and governments. The stories show very clearly that we need universal social policies to the whole world. This means pensions, healthcare, accessibility, medicines for everyone, services and so on. But it is possible. Let me shortly tell about my own country. After World War II, we were war-torn, poor society. We received food and shoes from UNICEF. I clearly remember the shoes because I got them myself as well. We started to build up the country with small pensions and small child benefits universally for everyone. And now we have been developing ourselves into a flourishing information society, so it is possible. Let me still quote the wise old people once more. Peace, forgiveness. This we will need in today's world more than ever. Reconciliation takes time, but it is possible. Thank you.
What struck me most about the participatory videos. There is a worldwide stereotype that older people are unable to adapt to the digital age. Yet we see the participants of the videos in the Voice Pilot project actively challenging this narrative by learning new skills and using digital platforms to share their voices. In all the 3 films, which originate from different parts of the world, the older persons echo the same concerns over the lack of government support for older people. This is particularly with regards to funding for services, health insurance, and accessible housing. While they appreciate the respect they receive as older people in their communities, they long to have their opinions valued in decision-making processes. Methods like the participatory videos have the potential to highlight and strengthen the human rights of older persons by keeping older people engaged in societal issues and creating an important link for intergenerational exchanges. Unfortunately, the voices of older people are often silenced or disregarded when it comes to policy amendments and global issues such as climate change. The participatory film from Canada, for instance, highlights how important it is for older people to be part of a council where they can make decisions that determine how the world they live in operates. This council also enables them to put forward their collective concerns and receive support from other organizations. Voices from the ground are integral to citizen accountability and social change. By amplifying the experiences and priorities of grassroots and marginalized groups, we bring awareness to issues that are not often represented in mainstream media. The use of participatory methods fosters awareness and accountability on crucial issues that are not actively represented in our societies. Participatory methods are also important because social initiatives are more likely to have a positive impact when there is a sense of shared ownership and responsibility among all stakeholders. People of all ages and from all walks of life must have the opportunities and tools for full, effective, and creative participation in the decision-making processes that affect them. A worldwide community of engaged citizens has the power to confront the challenges facing humanity and create a more just, inclusive, and sustainable world.
Well, thanks very much to both of you, Dr. Taipale and Ms. Brown-John, for these wise reflections. We're very fortunate, as I said, to have 2 guests with us live today. And the first is my friend, Ambassador Luis Gallegos, ambassador from Ecuador, who also sits on the board of trustees from the United Nations Institute for Training and Research research, and he's also president of the Global Initiative on Aging Foundation. So, Luis, Ambassador, you have the floor. What are your reflections after seeing these movies?
Thank you very much, Etienne. A greeting from Harvard. It is a pleasure to share with you some reflections on the three inspiring stories. Although they are focused on particular communities within their own realities, they show similar faces, humans and their own strengths and needs, with a part of their backs in pursuit to a decent present and future. Certainly, aging doesn't distinguish origin, religion, or other factors. Indeed, it may increase the risk of vulnerability by any person by undermining individual lives and the development of societies as a whole. If we are lucky enough, sooner or later, we will all experience aging by first hand, or because one of our closest relatives, friends, or colleagues are getting closer to that stage of life. The question is, after the living conditions for older people envisaged long-term care, integral care, combating ageism, and age-friendly environment. These pillars of the decade of healthy aging are key to take stock on how the situation around us and how we can go further. Thinking globally and acting locally is the key to this regard. I was struck by these three films in the need to address the protection and inclusion of older persons as a common goal that must be addressed as in a comprehensive manner. Though the experience shared in the films from Canada, it was highlighted to need interacting with other generations, considering accessibility and infrastructures, offering physical and emotional support, taking care of their culture and nature. Thanks to Jordan films, we could see the importance of covering the basic needs of older persons, listening to their voices, their experience, no matter their nationality, as well as fostering gender equality at times. These times are changing, taking advantage of their experience and considering their energies and other opportunities. In the case of Togo, livelihoods aspect are key, not only from the economic perspective, but also taking good care of the quality of food and services, as mentioned in the case of the use of pesticides. The need of data compilation realized how many older people live there, their situation and issues, and the need of gerontology advice adapted to communities is quite relevant to land a reflective solutions and crucial, together with an invitation to younger people to stay around the older members of their families and consider them part of their activities without overlooking their stories as they were just part of the past. This initiative, as well as other initiatives developed in the framework of the Decade of Healthy Aging, represent an extra motivation for fulfilling UNITAR's mandate to keep fostering capacities for aging issues. In light of the intensifying pace of global population aging, discussions about autonomy and care of older persons are the priority area. It is important to underline the rights for a protective and proactive role, thinking out of the box where we are is the main actor of their own destinies. Nothing about us without us was a battle cry for disability which should be used for all of us. Fostering equal and adequate conditions for the development of their autonomous and independent life as needed represents an essential step forward toward their protection and participation. In this endeavor, it is quite relevant that the inclusion of older persons not only as beneficiaries of capacity building activities, but also as speakers or trainers from their experience on a wide range of topics addressed to different profiles. There is a need to better understanding and reducing the intergenerational divide and also the technical and digital divide. It is important to raise awareness of the potential and challenges of this group in the social, economic, political, and cultural aspects to the empowerment and visibility of their rights. The experience that contributes that older persons have in their own communities place them in a strategic position for the design and implementation of public policies and programs. I would like to finish by quoting a famous phrase by an unknown author: "Don't regret getting old. It is a privilege denied to many." Just on a transparency issue, and having listened to the last speaker, I will tell you that I am also 75. Thank you very much for the opportunity at the end.
Well, thanks to you, Luis, very much for these reflections. Very, very inspiring. And I hope I'll look like you when I'm 75. Let's now turn to Claudia Mahler. Claudia is from Austria, and she's the independent expert on the rights of older persons at the Human Rights Council. Claudia.
Thank you, Etienne. And let me first of all congratulate everybody who was involved in these wonderful videos. And many thanks to the World Health Organization for organizing this brilliant event as part of the WHO's efforts to catalyze the United Nations Decade on Healthy Aging. What struck me are the messages in these videos of each older man and older women were very powerful, in contrast to the regular images we see all day, where older persons are described as frail and vulnerable. I was really glad to witness older persons speaking on their own behalf and raise the awareness that they are the experts and tell quite clearly what they require, where they see shortcomings. Their reflections were also based on their lived realities. They demand that they did not get equal access to specific rights, for example, social security, medical treatment, and meaningful participation. The videos also set the scene quite clearly and gave a picture about the different circumstances. The Canadian film showcased what a council can achieve, which means really meaningful participation on many different aspects of community life. Furthermore, the respective speakers were all very active. One striking issue in that video was that all these older persons cared to keep the environment and nature in balance and referred very often to their knowledge and to keep the language and traditions alive. And I think we all realized by watching their messages that they were aware how much they have to give to their respective communities. It was also heartbreaking to understand that the mistreated children are now older persons, and it took them a lifetime to find the courage to speak up and show the world how they were treated. And I think this is also something where we are reminded that the children from today are the older people from tomorrow. In the context of Jordan, I love to hear that the older persons acknowledged their social security plans, but brought evidence that the system had their shortcomings in practice. They expressed that they very often felt left behind and not treated in the way they should treat it. This is a shared feeling by many older persons around the world, and that I have witnessed in my capacity as independent expert. In the film from Togo brought many issues to the surface, especially the intergenerational aspects, the healthy aging as a program to ensure the right to healthy food and medication. I also felt the disappointment and distress that their needs and contributions were not acknowledged. Furthermore, the older persons did not know where and to whom to address to claim their rights. They shared many examples where the barriers stand, and they expressed their concerns that nobody in the country seemed to care about them. Invisibility and neglect are major concerns for older persons in our current society. I felt very encouraged by the proposal in all three videos. The speakers suggested good solutions for their identified gaps, which showed once again that older persons in their full diversity are the best advocates for their needs, and they must be the agents for change. That is a good opportunity also for policymakers to give older persons a voice and empower them through meaningful participation. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Claudia, for these important remarks. We're arriving now to the end of our screening, and I'd like to give the floor to the Honorable Kamal Khera, who is Minister of Seniors from the Government of Canada, for closing remarks.
Hello, bonjour. Before I begin, let me acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. I'm pleased to connect with you virtually from the various countries and territories and communities that you are in. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about healthy aging, and thank you to the World Health Organization and Director General Tedros for hosting this extremely important event. The Decade of Healthy Aging is an opportunity to focus on an issue that is important to every one of us around the world. It's an opportunity to highlight and identify the steps that we can take to help improve the lives of older people, their families, and their communities. In Canada, older adults are the fastest growing demographic group. They currently make up 19% of our population, and according to demographic projections, they could reach 1/4 of our population by 2059. This demographic change will have an impact on many aspects of our society, including our healthcare system. The risk of developing chronic diseases increases with age. Stats show that more than 70% of Canadian seniors live with at least one chronic disease. We know that healthy aging interventions can help prevent, delay, and minimize the severity of chronic disease and conditions. Seniors in Canada and across the world are living longer and healthier lives than previous generations. This is a good thing, but it means that governments have to take steps to meet the needs of those aging wherever they live. But what does healthy aging look like? Out of the many things, it means reducing social isolation. It means addressing mental health. It means to improve physical well-being, and it means promoting accessibility. While it can be different for everyone, depending on their circumstances, culture, values, individual preferences, everyone should have the same opportunity to live a long, healthy life. And that's why the videos you watch today are so important. These videos, made by older adults living in Canada, Jordan, and Togo, share diverse perspectives on aging. They shine a light on some of the issues that touch the lives of older people and affect their experiences on aging. And I'm proud to say that these videos were developed with the support of Public Health Agency of Canada. Projects like this help empower older adults by amplifying their voices and putting them at the center of the discourse on healthy aging where they belong. We need to listen to and engage meaningfully with these older adults as we work to promote physical and mental health of older people. This should be a priority throughout the decade of healthy aging and beyond. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Merci, and thank you to you, Minister, for your support, your participation, and through you to the entire Canadian government, and in particularly the Public Health Agency Canada, who made this work and more of our aging work possible, thanks to their support. So this brings us to the end of our screening. It's been a real pleasure to have all of you with us, several hundreds of you, and I know hundreds more will be watching this in the future. Just wanted to let you know that we will be uploading all of this information on the platform, which I think all of you are familiar with, and I'm sure my colleagues will paste the link into the chat if it's not there yet, so that all of you can access it and many more in the weeks ahead. For us, this is just a beginning. Giving older people a voice and have them actively participate in society in general and in the decade of healthy aging is very important to us. This was a first, but we will continue providing similar platforms to older people in other places so that this work can continue to flourish. We'll also be preparing or finalizing, a practical toolkit that will be published and also uploaded on the platform so that others can use it in order to make more videos and give older people the voice they need to have. Let me invite you, since we're talking about the platform, to visit it. It's really a platform for all of us, for all of you to use, an opportunity to dialogue, to gain knowledge, to get information, but also to provide your own information and share your voices on the platform. So please go and have a look if you don't know it yet. It's a fantastic, very participatory tool that should help move the decade to the next level. So of course, I want to thank all of you. This was a much more peaceful ceremony than the Oscar ceremony a few days ago. Thanks for that. But also, of course, thanking all of those who made the movies possible in the 3 countries, as well as global level, those who made this event possible, my colleagues in WHO headquarters, regions, and countries, and of course our partners in HelpAge International and Insight Share, without whom this event would not have been possible. So thanks again for joining us. Please continue sharing this information through your own platforms and social media so that as many people as possible can access it. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you to all.